Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I thought I'd do a little video on feeders and what I feed my inverts on. So predominantly all of mine get fed on cockroaches. Now I've got two breeding colonies I have. One is the Turkistan Roach, commonly known as the red runner, and the other I have is the dubia roach. I've got two colonies, or one of each of those. What I've also done is made a micro colony, or what I call a micro colony, or a smaller colony of red runners, because what I do with those is I put the smaller nymphs in there and then harvest those as and when I need to feed the smaller spiders. And then generally the red runners just, do very, very well. So what I'll do is I'll go through and show various stages of the roaches as they go through their adult, well, go through their life cycle, and then I'll show you how I keep them, and I'm going to clean both colonies out today. So I thought with that I could show you how I do that, how often I do that, and hopefully you might pick up a few tips, or maybe you'll say, actually, don't do it like that, do it like this. So we'll go through what I feed them, how often, and what gut loading is and things like that prior to them being fed to the inverts. So without further ado, let's roll VT. Right, okay, so the way I do it is, this is a sort of under the bed strip, well, I don't know, like a plastic sliding, it's got a lid. I never use the lid, but it's got a lid. So if we just go for the main red runner colony first, I'll be able to show you. So when I'm cleaning them, the way I do it is I put the container in the container, and this is where they live. So if you look, that slots in. See if I can. So that slots in, and the two sit side by side in there. So anything that does get out is going to go into another tray, and then it's all safe. It's all kind of kept within there. So let's do this. And as you can see, it's not anything amazing. I've just literally taped the mesh onto the top. That just gives them enough ventilation. Okay, and as you can see from this one, it is going to need cleaning. Now these were fed last night, okay, and we can see, so if we look at the trays, you can see that, just zoom it in for you so you can see. So what we've got here is, they're sort of sub-adult, this one here. There's an adult female, and then what you've got to watch is when they crawl on you, which is why I do it all in a tray. But there they are. So there's a male. You can see the male, because the male has got wings. Okay. Okay, so there's the male there. And all the rest are just going on through that cycle. So we're going again. There's more on this tray. Okay. And it's same all the way through. All right. So if you've watched the other video, and I'll put that at the end, but what you want to be looking for is a good mix. So you've got your females here. Okay, now these are pregnant, these females here. So what they'll be doing is they'll be laying an ooth, and I'll show you an ooth. There's one there. Okay, so the ooth is it's an egg case effectively, and then what that will do is that will hatch, and within that there will be the babies that come out of it. So there'll be the nymphs. And as you can see, all the trays, what the females do sometimes as well, is if you can see here, is they'll actually glue the nymphs into the trays. So when you are cleaning it out, just make sure that you check that as well, because you don't want to be throwing away potential food. This is the way I look at it. Okay, so that's the trays. You've seen the setup before and how it works. All right, so they have the area where they breed. Now what's confusing me a little bit, just looking through these trays, I've only seen one male, and there he is again. And that is quite unnerving, really. I'm sure there will be more. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get these trays, so I put it in sideways like this. Alright, let me just zoom out a bit. So I put it in sideways, so the tray's in. Whee! And the light just went for a burn then. Let me just move this light back a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, so we moved. This is the tray, so the trays and the cockroaches within there. And then what we're going to do is, as you can see, there's lots of dirt and their feces and all the other bits and bobs all on the trays. So we're going to change those trays for some nice fresh ones. Now what I will say is, don't be doing this too regularly, because all you do is you upset the whole balance of the colony. Now for me, I will clean these out probably once every 3 months. Okay, I go and buy a new pack of egg trays. I've got the bran, I've got the layer pellets and all the bits that I need, and everything else that go in there, and then I will do that like once every, like I say, every 3 months ish. Now the colony at the moment, you can, I don't know if you can see, but there is some tiny nymphs in there, so they're obviously breeding. The only issue I have got is I don't seem to be seeing many males, but I did feed just the other day, and I took out a load of males to feed, thinking there was more than there is. So it's quite, you need to make sure you've got that balance. You don't want too many males, but obviously you need males in order for them to breed. Some of these the sort of sub-adults will obviously become males, so they will be part of the colony. Now there's about 6 different bloodlines in here, so all from different like shows where I bought them. If I ever see red runners at a show, I always buy them, and I'll just stick them into the main colony, which is this one. And just to show you, this is my, where I put the smaller ones. If I just put the lid on that, and I'll be able to show you better. So this is like the next, or the sort of next stage after they've grown on from nymphs. So within here, they're sort of, I've still got adults in there, but these are like sort of at this sort of just past nymph stage. When you're doing this as well, just be mindful they are rapid. You've got a male there, there's a female there, there's one there, if you can see, but she's actually got an ooth coming out the back of her, this one. So yeah, you can see the ooth coming out the back of her. So yeah, so this is actually a breeding colony, but it's got the smaller roaches in there. So within there, all of the smaller roaches, and this is going to get a clean as well. But you can see it's a very healthy colony. You don't need massive tubs like I've got. You can do it within this one. I think this one's about 15 litres, I think. But they're sort of, you know, they're breeding and they are growing within there. Okay. So don't think you've got to get loads of roaches and then make, you know, a huge tub and everything like that. So that for me is just another colony that I've just grow on, and then I can take the smaller ones I need out of there rather than disturbing the main colony all the time. So to clean it out then, this is what I do. So I've got a black squidgy bucket, which is it. Okay, it's one of the, like a plasterer's bucket or whatever you want to call it. All right, and it all stays, like I said earlier. Just check your lid, make sure you've not got anything. I'm not in the spider room at the moment because I just haven't got the room to do it in here. This is why I do it outside. And then I take a tray, okay, transfer it over, and then I'll just shake that tray. And you need to tap it, you need to do all that sort of stuff, and then check that tray, okay, for any, like I said about, you can see there's ooze in here. Okay, so what I will do with that is I will, there's a roach there, so this is what you've got to be careful of. Okay, so, in fact it's actually one that's molted, but just check and make sure as they grow and as a colony, as they sort of become, you know, more of a colony, then you will have obviously smaller nymphs and things like that, so just make sure you haven't got any in there. And then, I don't know if I'll just show it you, I've got another 80 litre tub, and I'll show you at the end that I put those trays in. Okay, so same again, just get the tray out into the plasterer tub and just give it a tap, keep tapping. Okay, and then over the box again, and you can see here there's a tiny nymph. Alright, so this is what you've got to be careful of. So again, just give it a shake, give it a check. Now I've got ooze in there, there's one here which isn't, and so this is another molt. So this is what happens. So just like a spider, oh, you can see it just blown away because it's just so light, but just like a spider, they will shed their exoskeleton. Alright, and those will be all over the floor and everything, so don't panic when you think you've lost loads of roaches. They're probably just molted. Okay, so get all of your stuff out. So I put like little, all different size little bits and bobs, and this is one, what I do with this is I just stick this on the front. Okay, it's just cut off an egg box or an egg tray. I'll just stick that on, and then what happens is you'll get enough there, or I get enough there just to be able to sort of feed, and you tend to find that the smaller ones end up going into there. Okay, so we'll just do these last few trays. Now if you're methodical with it, you shouldn't have any issues. So you can see what I say about ooze being like glued in by the females. I don't know whether it's like glue or whatever they do, but effectively that is your new colony growing on. Okay, there's a little exoskeleton there of one. So just make sure, like I said, that you're all clear, and then that goes into the clean tub. Don't know if anybody saw that, but we've just had an escapee, which I've just caught up. So even with this, I have a catch cup because they will go for a runner. Okay, so you can see now we've got the dirty stuff. Okay, and all we're going to do is get rid of all of this. Okay, and then we will clean this out completely, and then we'll put the new stuff in. So I've just got to sort out this roach that I've just caught that went off, and then I will be back. Right, okay, I'm back. Sorry, and I apologise as well if the audio on the first part wasn't great. I ended up forgetting to put my proper microphone on, so it may not be as good at the start. So this is what I do now. So this is food. Okay, so what I need to be doing is taking this out. This is old, this is yesterday's. Alright, and I get rid of that. Okay, you don't need to see this. This is just me getting rid of old stuff, making sure there's no roaches or anything on there, and then I'll get all that out, and then I will come back. And as if by magic, we are back. Okay, so let's just see what we've got here. So as you can see, I've got all the roaches in the bin. There are still some in here, so what I do is I leave a little bit of egg carton in there, especially for the small ones which seem to be locating themselves in this corner. I put another tray in, as you can see. All of them want to go and hide. They're conditioned effectively to hide in there. There's a few adult females down here. Maybe get this one and show you. To play at all. There's a couple there. So there's an adult female roach there. Okay, now looks like she's just had an ooth, but that's an adult female. Whoops. Okay, they go like a really dark, like purpley black colour. Okay, and that's effectively. There's another one there. Okay, and you can see they're really dark in colour and obviously stand out. And the male is the only one I can see in that whole tub, and I'll show you that in a minute once we're done. But I'll leave that in there for another couple of minutes. Let them congregate on it effectively. Let's move this out of the way, and then I'll show you in there. So there you go. That's what's come out. So these are all the roaches. Okay, and obviously that is perfect. That's what you want. You can see there's all different sizes, and like I say, this one here, bless him, at the moment is the only male. Some will call him lucky. I reckon he's knackered. So what I will do is I'll have a look at the other colony, and if there's any males in there, then I will split them off and they can go into there. So we can do that now, because I really do obviously need males in my main colony, or at least be able to see some of them. So this is the other one. If I see a male on any of these, it's just going straight in with whoever it's got with it. Seem to be a bit short on the men. That's just really strange. I don't know whether it's a cycle. Oh, there's one there. There's one. So he and those can all go in there. Oh my god, I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see, but there is a web in there, and this roach is caught up in the web, and inside that web is a tiny little spider, probably like a false widow or something like that. And obviously that thing will be living the dream in there. Not too worried about that. Right, no more males in that one, and no. So that's really interesting and quite weird, the fact that we've gone through the 2 colonies and we've got only 2 males. Now, don't get me wrong, they will obviously create males with all the nymphs and God knows what that's around. Males will, well, hopefully be coming through, but there's nothing. As you can see with this colony, this is like what I would call like my sort of sling juvies in spider terms. So these are sort of growing on, but I use them to feed. So probably got about, I don't know, about, oh, he goes, a little bit of interest. If you can see, let's see if I can. In fact, let me put it over the bucket. Anybody who goes just goes. That's fine. I'm not really fussed. But so within here and in here, if you can see, so that white thing there, that is a red runner that's just hatched. Not hatched, sorry, just molted. So within there, we've got this one has gone to its next stage. So when people talk about nymph stages and things like that, that's where it is. And as you can see, another one's glued. There's an ooth glued in there. But yeah, so it's doing well. It is doing well. I don't want to disrupt it too much. So that one will be getting a clean as well. But it was just to show you, obviously, what happens. So go back to the other colony now. You can see now why I do it in this big tub. Let's give you a little close up in there. So there they are. So there's a fair few kicking about in there, which is always great. You know, you've got a healthy colony that's just reproducing constantly like this one is, and then you end up with all of these cockroaches and obviously continuous, effectively free food supply. So we'll bring this one back in. Now, as you can remember, this one, let's just zoom out again, sorry guys, I'm not very good at the old cameras. Right, so this went in empty, so let's just see. After that time, there's a couple. We've got a couple there. There's one there. So there is some still kicking about. Okay, and then what I do, get those in there, and then each time check it, because otherwise you're just going to end up with like cockroaches in your sterile bin. I always go through like the sterile bin at the end, what I call the sterile bin. There you go. There's some tiny little nymphs in here. Alright, so that's effectively all the stages. So I will feed my tiniest of slings on red runners from the start, whether they're pre-killed or whatever, and it tends to be you know, it's just, I find that their whole I'm gonna put this in there. You watch that now. They will literally use that as a they'll all want to hide in it. They'll be covered in a minute. They're fascinating creatures. I was going to do this as 2 videos, and I think I'm going to have, I'm sorry, 1 video, but I think I'm going to have to do 2 videos. So what we've got left in there at the moment is, this is obviously the bran. Okay, so this is what they feed on, or it's like a substrate, but they can feed on it as well. Okay, there's all the muck. There's like there's dead roaches. You're going to get dead roaches. Okay. So these are all still in there. There's molts. There's so there's a molt. So you can see that in fact that's not a molt, that's a dead one. Let's see if I can find a molt. Oh, there you go, there's a molt. So you can see like the hole right up. See if we can get you focused. Right. So within there you can see there's like a hole. So where the roach has come out of that case, that exoskeleton, and then obviously it's outgrown its exoskeleton and then come out as something else. So there's like wings of males as well in there. Okay. But I'd be interested to know, so if anybody knows why I've effectively only got like 2 males, then I'd be interested to know if there's any theories. So leave them in the comments. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this out, so all of this substrate, let's call it substrate. What I'll do is I'll sift through it for ooths that are on the top. They then go into, I'll show you this one I've got. It's like a whole cycle of cockroaches. So I've got this one, alright, and then what this is, all I've got is just some fine mesh that goes over the top of there. Okay, and within here, okay, two little bits, and then within there I've got the tiniest of nymphs. So what I do is I put, as you can see, I've got ooths all in there. I just chuck the ooths in, and then the ooths hatch, and then you end up with like loads and loads of tiny little nymphs, which is ideal if you've got slings. And I keep them all separate, and then obviously I can actually size what I need for when I'm feeding. So there we go. So that's it. I'll do the dubia bin next once I've cleaned this out, and then that's basically it. So what I feed them on before I go, because I did say I'd mention that. So what I feed them on is their veggies they get is usually sweet potato, so they get sweet potato. I put in some greens, so whether that's, you can see what they do, they just literally plague it. That's what I don't want to do, let's crush a load of them. So let's do that. Let's just get some of these to show you. So they're sort of growing on, so let's call them grown on slings. Let's see if I can get some real babies. And you can see we've got smaller nymph sizes. Yeah, there. I think I'd be alright, you know, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Don't think I'd have an issue. And like I've shown you, the males and the females. So, and that's about it, guys. Like I said, sorry, I won't go back to feeding. So the feeding of them is they get greens. So I usually buy like a Savoy cabbage, and then that will last enough time, and that feeds both bins. So what I do is I buy a pack of sweet potato, 2 Savoy cabbages. They go in the fridge. I strip the leaves off before I'm going to put them in at night, so I never put them in cold, so don't put them in cold. But they live in the fridge, and then it all comes out in the day, gets to sort of room temperature, and then they get fed. Then I do that probably once every 2 to 3 days, just to keep them going. If I'm specifically going to be feeding, I'll always make sure that they're fed the night before, I feed them or use them as food effectively. Well, there you go. So I think we'll switch up top and I'll just say goodbye. Right then, so there you go. That's the red runner colony. I was going to do, like I said at the start of the video, excuse me, I was going to do and show you both, but it just seemed to roll on and roll on and roll on, so I don't know how long this is even going to be. But it's just to give you a little insight of obviously how things work, and just anybody who's not sure, and just with their colonies, and like don't get sort of wrapped up in this, I've got to clean them out, I've got to clean them out, because actually when you clean them out you're actually upsetting them, and then they've got to settle into their new house, and then the next thing you're upsetting them again. So you know, just gauge it, and when you see you've got really dirty trays, or you know, you can't, you know, this sort of, they don't give off that much of an odour, but if you're getting some kind of smell and things like that, then just clean them out, but don't keep doing it all the time, because all you'll do is upset their sort of, I don't know, biodiversity, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what I'm talking about. So what I will do is follow on with a video on the dubias now. So I'll do the dubia bins next. If you want to see how I put together the actual roach bin and how that works, then I'll stick that video at the end, and then you can watch that, because there was a whole build video that was specifically for building a roach bin. But what else I will say is, I want to just what I love about Mark the Spider Guy is he gives like these little shout outs at the end, and I think it's really cool. And Matt started doing it, and Sophie does it, and I think people in the community, we should share each other, and so I'm going to shout out for got a shout out for Soph and her shop Arachnotopia. Okay, so please look her up if you're thinking about buying you know, inverts or anything. Just have a look. She's got so much now. She's making all weird and wonderful things as well, so give her a look up. Great channel that I'm really getting into and really looking forward to his videos is Matt. That's the I can't give his channel name. Tarantula Rookie. See, I'm doing this off memory. I haven't even got it written down, and I know some of you cheat, so leave it there. Mark the Spider Guy, absolutely fantastic. Just the most relaxed person. You literally sat there, just, you know, he rehoused a pokey on his last video, and it was just like, oh yeah, well, I'll just tickle it out the cork tube and all this, and amazing guy. Incredible inverts and other animals. That's Phil. His channel is brilliant. He started doing lives now. I mean, he had a vet on, a specific arachnid vet the other day, and he, you know, his channel is growing and growing and growing, and it's really good, because I've watched Phil for a long time, and now he's sort of, you can watch him build, and his whole channel's growing, which is fantastic to see. Who else have we got? And if I haven't mentioned you, don't be upset, because what I will do is have another little tag on the end of the dubia bin. But I'm going to do this every time, just say thank you to the community. And the people I watch, there are loads in the community, but the people I watch and like get ideas off effectively, because we're all giving each other ideas, aren't we? And then there's obviously Scotty. For those of you who don't know, he's got a tiny little channel. I think it's called Scott's Inverts, something like that. Don't know, something like that. But no, Scott has got an amazing channel. Every Tuesday he has a live. He has some amazing guests on. He gets discount codes put through. He's just awesome. And I have obviously met him as well, and we did a little video. So what I'll do is I'll stick the build video and the Scott's Inverts interview video up, and I hope you enjoy it. But that's it for this one. Like I say, the roach bin, the dubias I'm going to do next, and then after that, I don't know, I think I fancy doing a feeding video or something. But if there's something you really want to see, stick it in the comments. Like the video, please, because the video, liking the video, it messes with YouTube's algorithm, and then what happens is I get shoved up, and like people go, oh, what's that? And they'll click on it and they'll say, oh God, who's that ugly git? Oh yeah, oh, he doesn't really know much, turn him off. But if some might go, oh, I like him, and they'll click that subscribe button, which if you are watching this, I hope you have done already. If you haven't, give it a click the bell icon, and you'll never miss any of my videos. Thanks for watching so far. Sorry I've rabbited on, but the only thing left to say is stay inverted and keep it crawly, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Cheers.